The seller, the way he structured this sales agreement, if I don't get my approvals and hit those milestones, more importantly, the approvals with the Bahamian government, I lose everything.
Welcome to Exuma.
Welcome to Exuma.
Welcome to Exuma.
Welcome to Exuma.
Hey everyone, welcome to Exuma. You're probably thinking, what? Where's Exuma? Where is this place you've been talking about? It's in the Bahamas. You've all heard of Nassau. It's about 120 miles south of Nassau, just above Turks and Caicos, and it is beautiful. A couple months ago, I was here just on a vacation with my family, Easter break, fell in love with Exuma, and particularly fell in love with an island off of Exuma called Stocking Island, where we are here today. I thought before I booked a trip, I said, hey, instead of taking the shuttle, let me rent a boat. I rented a boat right over here in Georgetown, and I met a guy, Rodney Barrows, and I said to him, hey, what's building like? What's real estate like around here? It's in me, I can't help it, I know. And he said, look, you can't find anything. The market, there's just nothing on the market. And I said, well, how do you know? He says, well, I'm a builder here. See all those homes over there? It's called February Point. I built all of those homes. Then my wheels started turning. If I could get him involved in some type of development project, maybe buy some land, I was thinking, where everybody could experience this, it would be great. I mean, this is a foreign land, right? Foreign island. And to think, oh yeah, it would be nice to build here and build some houses and share it. But that missing link of what's the local government like? What's the building process like? Can you even get materials here on this private island? Funny, the next day I sat down with Rodney at breakfast, and every one of those voids, if you will, or unknowns were answered.
My name is Rodney Barrows. I am a building contractor here in the Exumas. My specialty is mostly high-end homes and private islands. We built Mushaki in the late 1990s and went on from there to do 2 more private islands, Samson Key, and we also did Highburn Key. We have done basically about 10 to 12 of the private islands in the Exuma Keys over a 21-year span.
So at that breakfast, Rodney got me hooked up with a local realtor, had some pocket listings over in Hoopers Bay. We potentially may buy that, and how we're gonna put, 4 homes. So we went back to Rodney's office. He gave me some great ideas, on positioning.
Yeah, spinning them for views, turning some of the back houses more out to sea, turning some of the inner homes right along the beach to look down the shore. It's a beautiful project, it's a beautiful spot. It's by the turtles. The views are amazing.
So after these meetings with Rodney, I was hooked. This was shovel ready to go. We ran the numbers. This was a chance for me to immediately get started here in Exuma. So super excited to, pull the trigger and acquire that land, and more importantly, form a relationship with Rodney throughout this building process. Now, my original plan was to buy something right on Stocking Island. I loved it there. I love the resort. And I heard that there might be some land available next door to the resort that we had stayed in. Fell in love with walking up and down the beach, the ridge, the ocean, and I went to the front desk. There was a worker at the resort. I got the phone number of the guy who owned the land next door. I go back home, I call him. First of all, he's like, how'd you get my number? And I'm like, hey, I was trying to get my way into that door just to get one of those lots. Ironically, I found out that he lived 30 minutes from my house right near Philadelphia, which is insane. So I really think the stars aligned here, meeting Rodney Barrows, the biggest builder here in Exuma, and now to try to acquire this 40 acres. Originally it was just a lot, so those 2 stars had to align. I was able to get a meeting with the owner of the 40 acres. I went to his house, spent 4 hours, a huge map on the dining room table of Stocking Island, what was owned by who, and the resort. So I really got a lay of the land. I was able to get a trip scheduled. He and I came back to the resort that we stayed in just 2 weeks after my first vacation there. So we looked around, and I found out on that trip that he had plans to develop that 40 acres, but just never pulled the trigger. So I think my background of being a developer, that's what this island needed. To build a spec house, to be able to show people what could be done, and really to get the final approvals there. So during that trip, was really trying to put all of that together. So after 6 months of tough negotiations, a lot of trips back and forth, a ton of meetings with the owner, we struck a deal to develop and buy the 40 acres next to that original resort that we stayed in. As this all played out, Rodney was crushing it over there on Hoopers Bay, and before you knew it, we broke ground, he was digging foundations, and what I found so interesting is how you have to build here. I build in a beach town, but this is like a hurricane zone. We designed for 120 mile an hour winds, they do 180 mile an hour winds, and the difference in the foundations is incredible. First time I looked at that foundation, it looked as though we were building a high rise. There was so much groundwork with the rebar and the concrete. And I joked with Rodney, I said, what's taking so long, right? He goes, you don't understand how this goes. And so there was about a month's worth of just underground work to get some vertical, what I call vertical progress, out of the ground. So now I cannot manage this project on the 40 acres and Hoopers Bay from New Jersey. So my wife and I were right over there on the point, and we made a decision. And she said, let's go for it, let's move. And it was awesome that we were both, on the same page. But the questions were, where do we live? Are we going to live in Exuma? Could we go somewhere closer maybe to Florida? Because I need to be on this project full time. So where the kids go to school. Yes, my kids are younger, not in high school yet, but uprooting them from all of New Jersey, and where are we gonna go, right? So we landed on the fact that we were going to move to Florida. I would live here during the week, I would fly back and forth, I could fly them here on the weekends. I often joke, I say, hey, when my kids get older, they're gonna say one of two things. Hey, remember Dad had us move to Florida and we were back and forth to the Bahamas and how great it was? Or remember that made us move to Florida and we had to go to the Bahamas all the time? I hope it's the first one and not the second one.
Wow, look at that.
That's where you can swim right in there.
Dad, look what I found.
You say lot number?
1! No, 2.
What do you say?
1. I have the other side. 1.
The seller, the way he structured this sales agreement, if I don't hit these 9-month milestones, the deposit, the renderings, the architectural, the environmental, it's all gone. Me living here for 9 months, me uprooting my family from New Jersey to Florida is wasted. Blue water, green palm trees, everything's great, but as these months approach, if I don't get my approvals and hit those milestones, more importantly, the approvals with the Bahamian government, I lose everything.